it's raining men. Hallelujah, it's raining men. Amen. We partner with Some Company in order to produce this podcast, and we filmed it at Some Studios. Some Studios is located in downtown Los Angeles, California. They offer a studio space with versatile sets and top-of-the-line equipment rentals so you can create content that elevates any personal or company brand. You can trust Some Company with all your video and photography needs. From vision to finished product, Some Company will make the process of getting high-quality content seamless and stress-free. If you have a vision, Some Company will make it a reality. If you need a vision, they'll create one for you. Trust Some Company with all your video, photo, and production needs. Okay, so if you haven't guessed it already, we're talking about men. Ooh. Let's be real, ladies. Have you struggled in a relationship before? Never. Raise your hand if you have. I think every girl has. Every girl has struggled in a relationship. And there are several reasons why you struggle, right? And there are a couple of things that we want to chat with you guys about that my mom, as I was dating and even into my marriage, she constantly has given me advice on. These are some of the lessons that I've just learned. But let's be real. It's a crazy roller coaster that we go through when we're trying to date. And then it's even crazier when you get married. Let me tell you, it is a wild ride.
It's so funny because you're always telling me marriage is no joke.
It's no joke. You're putting two people together, right? Who have completely different personalities. And then you're like, we're going to do life together forever.
Forever.
Have you guys seen Sandlot? I am married to a baseball player.
Yeah. So.
And I am married. I'm not wearing my ring. I was running out the house this morning and I forgot. So it is what it is. But I am married to Jonathan. He is a cutie pie. I do love him. But these are some of the things that I walked through as I started to date. And, you know, I think I started dating when I was 16 with my very first boyfriend, who was a baseball player, ironically. And from there, it's been a wild ride. And my mom has given me some of the best advice. And let's talk about some of the lessons, right? And then my mom was married for how long?
For 20 years.
She's technically still married. She's mid-divorce, guys.
Yeah, it's a long journey.
So it's technically 27 years.
Yeah, it's been a long journey.
But really 20 years like together. And then before then, you dated only like, I think you've told me like one or two people.
Yeah, it's not, we don't have a big roster here, but I think because I got married so young, there's a lot of things I learned along the way about myself and about being in a relationship with someone because we grew up together basically. And so I always say like, hey, listen to me, learn from my mistakes, learn from the things that, you know, I learned about myself along the way that I wish someone would have told me.
Yep. And all the situationship parts.
Oh, yeah. All the situationship stuff. I mean, your friends come to me with a lot of stuff ever since you were a kid. So I would always get the mom, so-and-so needs some advice. And I would always be there, you know, on the phone or in person talking to your girlfriend.
To this day, it still happens.
Oh,
this day, I mean, I think I just had a friend in January come over and be like, I need advice. And she's sat at her kitchen and talked to you about her situationship at the time. So It doesn't matter. You know, my friends have called you, you know, we have all walked through it as girls. Okay. So let's go through some of these things that we've seen, right? Okay. So like the first one I want to talk about, we were talking about this last night, is isolating yourself and making yourself completely available to only that person.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Putting yourself on hold. That's what I call it. You're putting yourself on hold and you're stopping your whole life just waiting for that person to make plans for you, make plans with you. What are they doing? You stop talking to your friends and you start making yourself completely just available to that person. And I think that's hard, especially when you first meet someone because you're in that honeymoon stage. So you just want to be with them all
You're
the
enamored.
time.
Yes, enamored.
So I think that's like really difficult to kind of differentiate whether you're in a healthy space or if you're in an unhealthy space. And I think that a lot of times we have a hard time telling the difference. And then when our friends are saying something to us about it, we're kind of like, no, you're just being, jaded from your last relationship, or you're jealous, or whatever it is we're thinking that our friends are wrong. But a lot of times our friends are really good sounding alarms.
They really are, especially when you do start to isolate yourself. And, you don't even realize it because you're in that honeymoon stage. So it's just like, oh, I won't go to dinner, or you're only going to dinner with your boyfriend.
Yes.
And that's all you do the whole time. Or you only plan things with him, or you can't do something outside of him.
Or because they're love bombing the person so much, the person can't even see it anyways because the boyfriend is just constantly love bombing them, telling them they're wonderful, they're the only one for them, that nobody else matters, and just it's a whole situation. So they can't even
situationship.
It is a situationship. They can't even see they're being swallowed up by it.
I know, and I've had friends who've walked through this, and I've actually personally walked through this before. And I was kind of challenged though in dating. I didn't quite like to stick around for a long time. So if that did start to happen to me, I was like, peace out.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this. But I've had friends walk through this and they come out on the other side and they're like, wait, what happened? Like, where are my friends? And then they actually get confused about who they are as a person because they had put all of them into this relationship and they lost themselves completely. And they're like, I uprooted my whole entire life and I've lost friends. I've lost, my whatever it is, my favorite hobbies, maybe a job, maybe whatever it may be. And then you're on the other side of it and you're like, wait a second, why did I do that? Why did I lose just for this person? And really, truly, that person should support you and be really excited. I mean, when I started telling Johnny about this podcast, he has support me through whatever I wanted to do. If I said I wanted to be Mickey Mouse right now, he would say, honey, I believe it in you. Let's do it, right?
Johnny, let me tell you, as a husband, Johnny does the most. Johnny is our champion. He's like, yes, you can do it. He has helped us through so many different ideas, business concepts. He's built desks. He's built shelves. That guy is...
He has moved mattresses. He has moved everything. He's taken geography classes for me when I didn't want to do that. But he was going to help me graduate college.
I didn't know that she was cheating.
Sorry. But the truth is when you isolate yourself, you start to lose yourself, which brings us to another point in our stuff is becoming basically your boyfriend, not having your own personality.
Yes. So everything they like, you like. Everything that they say is cute to wear, you start wearing. How they say they like your hair, you constantly wear it that way. And if you want to go to a restaurant and they say they don't like it, you were like, oh, I don't want to go there anyways. I want to go to your restaurant. And you basically try morph into the other person. I call it mirroring. Yep. You start mirroring whatever it is you think that they want instead of being the genuine person that you were created to be.
I remember you actually saying this to me once. Don't be that girl that when they say jump, you jump.
Oh yeah, no.
And you were like, why? Don't do that.
Yeah, no. We're not even supposed, when you're dating, ladies, when you are dating, don't make yourself so ready available. Have your own life, have your own plans, because that ultimately is the most desirable woman. That is desirable. I'm not saying, put somebody you like on the back burner, but make your own life. Have your own plans, because prior to meeting this person, you did have your own life and you did make your own plans.
Yeah, and you had a whole life before that. Ladies, this is how I caught Johnny. No, but really, I had done a lot of work. So I'd gone from relationship to relationship and I was like, this sucks, right? I did not want someone who was going to control me. I had all these things I didn't want, right? Because I had made a list of everything that I wanted, but in the end, you never know because half of the stuff is material or whatever it is. And so when I met Johnny, it was like a breath of fresh air because, I had just kind of put back time into myself and done the work to work on myself, to care about myself, to develop what I wanted, think about what I wanted in my future, all these different things. So when it came to the relationship, instead of him trying to navigate me and I'm trying to become something that he's interested in, he felt completely for everything about me. Even when I was being a sassy woman, and to this day, you should see him. He knows I am sassy, but he's absolutely obsessed with that about me. But I never changed that about myself the whole entire relationship. Who I was at the beginning is exactly who I am now. And trust me, I sat him down and made me promise that he was going to marry me one day. And look here we are. Married.
Yes. And you guys just celebrated your 1-year anniversary in January.
Yes.
I'm so happy for you guys.
Yes.
I love Johnny.
Yes, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Okay, this can't be a Johnny praising episode. But
I know, right?
the truth is, you can't lose yourself. And a lot of girls go into relationships trying to become something about the other guy and become this personality and be obsessed with what they want and do what they want. And then you just become boring because you're just another version of them.
Oh, absolutely. Have you ever been in a relationship where this is hard for me to believe about you. It's when I ask this question, but have you ever been in a relationship where, I know a lot about your relationships, but where you felt you couldn't speak up or have your own opinion, that you were just
actually, yes,
afraid to?
I have.
Okay.
Very young, right out of high school. I was enamored with this person. I was this is the person I want to marry, right? This is probably the only person I was really in love with at the time, or just in general. And that person actually had a lot of strong personalities and was a really strong person in general. And so they had a lot of beliefs and things like that I was really insecure at the time. So I didn't have a lot of my beliefs and ideals kind of dialed in. And I didn't develop that until I was probably 21, 22. But I was 19 at the time. And this person particularly had a lot of strong beliefs. And I disagreed with them, to be honest, but he didn't say anything. And then when I finally did speak up and say something, they didn't recognize me and then they thought I was crazy because I was no, I'm sick and tired of this. I'm sick and tired of this. But before I was what? I was just trying to feel loved, just trying to be loved. So I was being something that I wasn't, and I was accepting things that I would have never accepted.
Yeah.
And I learned that lesson, and that's okay. All girls learn that lesson, right? But the truth is when you get into a relationship, don't set your expectations, right? Because you're going to want these certain expectations later in life, and then they're going to what the heck? That wasn't what you believed or thought before.
Totally. I think be upfront. Be upfront with your expectations, but you have to know those first. I'm kind of going backwards in our podcast a little because what you said earlier, you said, I took some time for myself. And you were saying at first I made a list of who I wanted to be with and da-da-da-da. But a lot of times when we make those lists, it comes from a place of when we're broken and we haven't done the work of what we actually really need or what we really want or what we truly want. It's kind of a lot of what we think we need, what other people tell us we want. And we haven't actually taken a step back and taken a breath of fresh air for ourselves. And you did that. You did that for a whole year. I remember telling you hey, no dating, take a year off, get to know who you are. And you were able to see dating through fresh eyes because you actually knew who you were, what you actually wanted in a person and what you would and would not tolerate. And I think a lot of times in the name of wanting to be in a relationship and, cuffing season and, we will settle for less than what we're worth. We'll settle for people crossing our boundaries and not having our values sharing the same values as us. And we will settle in the name of being in a relationship. And I think a lot of times women do that. And it's so, so important to take time and get to know yourself.
I'm glad you brought up the list again.
Yes.
Because here's the truth about the list. And every girl has a list. If you were to see my list and then look at my husband, you'd start laughing.
Yeah, totally.
You'd be
same.
This list doesn't match. And let me tell you about the list. We write on the list things about money. We write things on the list of they should have this career. They should be this way. They should look this way. They should do this thing. And I'm going to help the men out right here, right now. The truth is, ideals and values are far more valuable than materialistic things, than what the person can do for you. What, looks. Because guess what, ladies? Looks fade, money goes, and time is going to go on, and you're in this marriage, and you've had this list at the age of 20 that you made that's not going to match what you need at the age of 30, at the age of 40, at the age of 50. So really take a look at your core values and then match it with someone instead of just relying on, do they have a good career? Because guess what? That career can disappear. That business can disappear. The money can disappear. You never know. And I have friends who get enamored by that and stuck in that. And they're like, well, he has to make a certain amount of money. Who cares? Who cares? Truly, when you're in your 20s too, half of us are struggling if we just speak the truth. And I think that's really hard because a lot of this my generation, are looking like he has to have this, he has to have that. But the truth is, money comes, money goes, looks fade. Find your core values first, and your marriage will last. Because ultimately, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. And how somebody treats you is just so big.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the long scheme of things, that is one of the biggest things. And I think we're so willing as women to overlook how someone treats us because we're like, well, it's okay. He didn't mean it that time or whatever it is. Or, maybe that person doesn't even meet our expectations. And we're so willing to overlook that because we want so badly to be in a relationship.
Yep.
And in the name of having a relationship, we'll settle for situationship.
Yep. It's funny. Another one of our points is we wait on him.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Why as women are we putting our lives on hold for a guy?
Why are we waiting for permission to live our lives? I see so many young women waiting for their boyfriend to give them permission to do things. Like, well, I can't go. He doesn't want me to or whatever. And I get mutual respect for one another and all those good things. And I understand that. But I see so many women putting their life on hold. And let me tell you, girls, time flies and it doesn't go backwards. Yeah. You will be racing toward 45 right here real quickly. And you're going to look back and say, why did I wait? That is one of the biggest things in my marriage I regret. I regret waiting on someone, which was my husband at the time, to give me permission to bust out and do the things that I wanted to do. I had gifts, I had talents. And because he didn't give me the green light to develop those things and go ahead and do them, because the way I wanted to do them, maybe he didn't see them that way and he wanted them to be developed in a different way by starting a business a certain way. We didn't see eye to eye. I wouldn't do them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something huge. I think a lot of times women wait for the man to give them permission. And I just want to encourage young girls and all women to say, you know what? I don't need permission. I have all the permission I need within myself to go after whatever it is that I want to do and whatever it is I want to achieve.
Oh my gosh, that's beautifully spoken. Actually, I think one of your friends have said this before, and this just brought me up when you were talking, and you've said this to me before, don't waste your youth. Because in your youth, you can make mistakes. I mean, you can when you're older, but in your youth, it's a little different, right? You're going to try new things. You're at your peak, right? Your energy levels, you're living life. You could do things it's so different young. And I see a lot of girls waste their youth waiting for men to give them permission to do something or go be something, or they're letting other men be the limelight first to go do what they need to do. And then they're like, okay, and then I'll get to it when it's my turn. And then we have children and life goes by. And then you look back and you're like, wait, I didn't get to do that thing I wanted to do 10 years ago. I didn't get to, and it's never too late. For the women who are older, it's never too late.
Oh no, I think this is the second chapter of my life.
Yes.
And I totally don't think I'm too old to do whatever it is I want to do. I think this is the second chapter, but I really do validate what you're saying. I think when you're young, it is different. Go out, make those mistakes, find out who you are before you lock yourself into someone else and you are just now living life day after day after day,
Yeah, and you get into routine, and then you're stuck, and it's like, man, I wish I did this. Or then you're in the current situation and you're sad because you're like, wait a second. Then you're in the current situation and then you're like, wait a second. Am I going to regret not doing XYZ or not trying this or not doing this? And one thing I did look for, because in that early relationship I was telling you about earlier in the podcast, he had a strong opinion about what women should do for a living.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yes, he had a very strong opinion saying basically that I should be like a teacher or a nurse, and that those were jobs that women did. You guys, I am not that way. I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer. I don't know what you're talking about. I will be president. That was my mentality. Now I didn't want to go into politics, and here I am doing a podcast. But I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a business consultant. I have my own social media company. We have our own social media company. That is what I am. And I'm not going to be a teacher. I wasn't called to be a teacher. I wasn't called to be a nurse, and that's okay. But I wasn't going to let some man, not to be a man-hater. I was not a man-hater. Okay, I love my husband. Tell me what to do. And Johnny does the complete opposite. Like I said from the beginning, if I wanted to be Mickey Mouse today, he'd be like, let's Mickey Mouse.
So you brought up a good point without bringing up a good point. I think a lot of women shrink themselves down. I think we shrink our shine so that we don't shine too bright, because we're afraid that if we shine too bright, we are going to blind the person that we want to ultimately be with, and they won't want to be with us. That putting our shine on is going to make them upset, and they won't feel as important. Now, if you're with a man who has a problem with your shine and he doesn't feel as important, then you're with the wrong man, because any man that feels threatened by a woman who is shining, that is actually a very insecure man. And I think a lot of times as women, we shrink ourselves down. We shrink our opinions. We shrink our way we dress sometimes. I know a lot of women will change the way they dress. We'll shrink our careers. We won't strive as hard because we don't want to earn maybe the boyfriend or the husband, whoever you're with. And I think a lot of times that's one of the big things I see, especially in young women. They shrink down who they are, and they forget that it's okay to have a backbone. It's perfectly fine. And the man that truly loves you and truly wants to see you is actually going to put your shine on. He's going to say, this is my girl. This is what she does.
I was going to say that song. I forgot the name of but get your shine on.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry if my singing voice is
country
horrible.
song.
The country song. But you're so right. You always said that to me. And not to quote Ariana Grande right now, but thank you next. I always said thank you next to a guy who always said I was too much. Or I had a lot of the time be like, guys who wanted to control me. I don't know why, but they wanted to control who I am and control me. I think because I was looking for a guy who had the same type of personality as me, and they often wanted to kind of put me into a box and be like, this is my, I don't know, like a little Barbie doll. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be in the box. I don't like the box, and I don't like boxes, and that's not who I am. And I'm sorry, sir, but no. And I would say thank you next so quick.
Oh my gosh, you've been rebellious since you were little. So any man that thought that he could make that stop, it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because the difference, it's funny because the difference with Johnny was he did something that no man would do. And this is one of our points. Men will go after exactly what they want. Let me tell you, ladies, men, if they want something, they will go after it. They will go after it. They're not going to just kind of piddle through it. They're not going to be like, kind of. They're not going to maybe do it, put 1 foot in, 1 foot out. No, they're going to go all in, and they're not going to care. And that's something that my husband did. My husband, is the only difference between all the guys, really, truly, other than his personality, is he said, no, I want you. And I was like, I actually broke up with Johnny.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
My friend was in the car when I broke up with him. And I said, I just think we're not in the same bowl of soup.
I remember this. Oh my gosh. Yes.
But he said, no, we are in the same bowl of soup. And he said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to prove to you that that's true. The fact that 1, he got my analogy, and 2, he sat around for 4 months and was chasing me day in, day out, picking me up at 3 a.m. with my friends, driving us to Del Taco. He did whatever he wanted to make sure that he was going to get me. And then I said, okay, well, I guess I choose you. But if I'm going to choose you, you have to promise you're going to marry me. And I said, you have to. And so promise you're going to marry me. And he said, okay, I promise I'm going to marry you. He did. We never broke up after that. So I was like, I choose you.
Pikachu, Pikachu, I choose you.
Anyway, so what I'm trying to say, ladies, is they're going to go after anything we want. And I think we tend to lose ourselves in the red flags and in our, not watching out for those things and not knowing that they are going to chase after that. And the red flag of them being in and out and doing this, they're not there.
Men don't give mixed signals. Men know what they want. When they want something, they go after it. Just like us, when we want those pair of shoes and we know it, we go after them. There's no holding us back.
No.
And so I just want to let all the ladies out there know that if he's giving you mixed signals, just give him one signal. And the answer is no.
Yeah.
I'm done. Someone who wants me isn't going to put me through ups and downs and lefts and rights and all that good stuff. I'm going to know that this is the relationship for me, and they're going to be super supportive.
What you just said reminded me of this guy on Instagram who runs around with a giant red flag.
Oh, I love that guy.
And it's so funny because it's so true. There could be giant red flags and we're like, la, 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 wow, he's so lovely. At least, oh, that's the thing that kills me.
Oh, yeah, at least. That's the worst.
He's doing this.
Yes.
At least he's doing that. And I'm like, at least, excuse me.
Or how
he
about,
should want to do that. He should want to pour back into you. He should be excited to love you because you're so excited to love him. So I don't understand.
well, and you're so valuable.
Yes.
We women forget how valuable we are. We are valuable. We put value into their lives. And if the right man, he will put value into your life and you won't have to feel like you're less than, So
No, you're 100% right. You don't have to feel like you're less than, and you are valuable. So today's episode, right? We talked a lot about all kinds of things. I think a lot of them are red flags. So I want to say this. If there is a giant blaring red flag going across your mind, take a minute, take a step back, and remember to go back to who you are, your values, and remember that you are your own person and that there is going to be a person out there for you.
I would have to add on to that sometimes we can't see the red flags because we are so blinded by love, by chemistry, whatever it is, and we can't see them. So if you have people around you that truly have been with you, love you, your friends, your family, whatever it is, and those people have been around, if they are saying red flag, those are the people that you need to listen to, because a lot of times we can't even see our own red flags. So pay attention.
It's true. The amount of times I should have listened to my mom, ladies.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you so much for being here today, guys. This video will be up on YouTube, and it would really help us out if you'd like and subscribe it, because then we can help you more. Anyway, you could find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
And you can listen to us on any podcast platform. We are streaming on all of them. And
trust me, you're not alone, because in this place, you could always
call your mom.